Hey everybody, Dr. Michael here with Valiant Physical Therapy here in Evanston, Illinois, where I specialize in working with runners. Do you have a hamstring strain? Do you know someone that has a hamstring strain? And are you wondering how soon can you get back to running? If you should run while you have a hamstring strain, what do you do? In this video, I hope to answer those questions, so stick around to find out. So hamstring strains, very common injury, more common in someone that's going to be running quickly, like a sprinter. But for someone that is dealing with some degree of a hamstring strain and you're a distance runner, which the main difference being the obvious difference is the speed of running. Sprinters are going much faster. The dynamics are much different from a mechanical standpoint compared to distance running or slow jogging. And that's going to become important in a second. So whenever we're dealing with some sort of a hamstring strain, there's a lot of nuance in maybe you're getting this video at a time when it's the acute phase of a hamstring strain. That might be a good time to rest it, but really pretty quickly after you strain your hamstring, within reason, you can start to do some walking. And then if you can kind of feel pretty good as you're walking, you can do a little bit of light jogging, okay? And we really want to keep the hamstring moving as we are recovering from a strain, because if we just sit on the couch and we just rest, it's just going to really tighten up, and it's going to be very difficult to actually get that hamstring moving the way we need to once we're actually trying to run. So in an for acute hamstring strains, there is going to be a time where it's like, okay, the best thing to do is to sit on the couch and just let it rest because you can barely walk. Once you can kind of get a little bit of a walk, it is going to be nice to start to introduce some degree of rhythmical activities like walking. And then once that feels even better, then we're going to get you jogging pretty quickly. And the thing that's really special about jogging is that the hamstring doesn't really go through a large range of motion. So if I step back here so you can see my legs, let's talk about sprinting for a second. For sprinting, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate this perfectly. But the idea with sprinting is that there's a big, long reach of the leg, and then the foot comes down and the power starts to push you forward, okay? And the foot, the leg starts to pull you forward. This whole mechanism where you're reaching out, planting, and then pulling is what's going to put a lot of pressure on the hamstring, okay? And also inversely, the lengthening contraction of the hamstring is where a lot of people do pull the hamstring. So as their leg swings through, kind of it gets into this terminal swing phase, the hamstring is at a max stretch. This happens very quickly. There's a lot of forces going on, and that's kind of where, the straw that tips the camel's back. But we're not going to sprint in our hamstring rehab, at least not at the beginning. So something like jogging, where you're keeping the motion really tight and you're not actually extending the leg out too far, is going to be something that is going to be tolerable for most people when they are rehabbing their hamstring strain. So to answer the initial question, should you run when you have a hamstring strain, or when is the right time to run during a hamstring strain? I almost want to change that run word to jog, because jogging kind of gets the picture a little bit more. It's a lot calmer. It's a lot more controlled, a lot lower in terms of a range of motion that the hamstring and the knee kind of has to travel in between, and it's just going to be a lot more tolerable to do something like that. And we are going to want to actually introduce jogging relatively quickly after hamstring strain as the patient is ready. So if you have a hamstring strain, rest assured that your running days are still going to be good moving forward. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's just going to be important to go through a progressively loaded rehab program and not just resting the hamstring and thinking that it's going to heal on its own. You need to keep it moving, and you especially need to strengthen it in the late stages of the rehab once it can really tolerate that, and then gradually introduce some faster running. But the return to run process is very tricky. There's a lot of nuance here, but short answer to the question, you can totally jog in your hamstring recovery, hamstring strain recovery. So I hope this was helpful. If you thought it was helpful, give it a like. Shoot me a comment if you have a question or you have a comment about this topic. And if you know someone that has a hamstring strain and you think they would benefit from this video, shoot this over to them. And thanks for watching.